Welcome everybody. Now we're on to part 3 of this room renovation, and predominantly we're still talking about painting stroke spraying with HVLP the Alcove cabinets. Now the last video you saw, I was telling you about the prep that I'd done, sanding down. It had had 2 coats of the aqua bin. I'll just recap quickly. 2 coats of the aqua bin, that was really nice, and I'd said don't rub down after your first coat, wait till your second coat. Mercer Gold Flex, they're in the description below. Pads, sanded that down nicely, and I finished off the day corking up. Now the cork that's used is the one-time Red Devil filler cork. Now that, I don't have any problem with this cork. People moan about it. People moan about everything. I can moan about everything. But I cut a fine bead. I cut a fine angle off on the end, smaller than what I'd got for going around the top of the skirting, and I corked up all the edges and anything that just needed filling. Now I don't know whether you've seen the previous video where I was at the Juicing show. I spoke to the guys from Hippo. Their lightweight filler, that Fill Tight, is a cracking fine surface lightweight filler. It's got, I think, what did he tell us? It's got marble granite chippings in it, and it stops it sinking, and also it takes the paint really well. So that's what I did on any screw heads on these cabinets. Got those all neat, dusted out and everything. And also yesterday I was telling you I'd just put a nice light waft coat over any of the previously painted oil-based eggshell that I'd done before. So everything is now primed out. Right, we're moving on to today. What am I doing? Right, losing everything. Losing everything. Right, you've seen the thumbnail. I'm using the LickPro paint. Big shout out to the guys, Charlie at LickPro. Put my hand up. They have supplied the paint for me to try today. So all this room will be in LickPro. I have previously, and if you've seen over that shoulder there, I've used this paint before, really like it, but I was a little bit disappointed with my choice of colour because I went for black, and the walls on the matte finish on the walls mark as soon as you look at them, polish up. So Charlie's reached out to me and said, Phil, try a bit better colour. So we've gone for, you can see it's called Red 03. It's like a salmony colour. It's quite a deep colour. Now I've made this up ready to go into the HVLP sprayer. If you've not used an HVLP sprayer with a remote pot, you have to thin that paint a lot more than what you would do just with a suction pot or a gravity pot, because there's a big pipe that the paint's got to go through. So make sure you thin your paint down. Now I've got the paint made up, and I don't know whether you can see there. Let's angle it. That is pretty thin. I've put, I'll say, plenty of water to it. I can't tell you 5, 10, 15%. It's a bit of a trial and error. I knew I needed to get a thin coat through that sprayer, and it's still the 1.5 needle, and I want to get a nice wet coat over these for the first coat. I'm not expecting this to be covering for 1. I will be giving it 2, and if I so feel like it, I've got plenty of paint, it might be having a 3rd just to get the build up on it, because this room, once I've done it, if it's anything like the last time that I did this colour wash, which looked like EasyJet orange before I actually got the burnt umbers and the scumbles over the top, this has been done 17 years, so I might give this lot an extra coat if I've got time. I'll see how Mrs. B's planned the day. But anyway, I'm going to be spraying up all this today. What I'm going to be doing, I'm struggling for room because I've got quite a bit of kit here, and I've moved quite a bit of kit outside. My plan is get these cabinets sprayed. I'll show you spraying that. I want to bring some of this skirting round. I want to bring the radiator and the sills round. And then the doors that are just there, what I'm going to do is drop some of this Cortex sheeting just at the back to protect the wet skirting, which will be dry. And I'm going to put the doors against that back wall, and I'm going to spray the doors in situ across that back wall. The same with any of these shelves that I've got to do, and the cabinet doors. I will be doing those last, once I've got a coat on the main skirting frames and everything like that, but I'll wait for them to go off. Again, it's a bit of a trial and error. Work what suits you best. I could have started with those, but I really want to get these out of the way, give them as long as I possibly can to dry before I actually get a second coat on later on today. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm not going to be interacting too much with you. You'll go, yay! But I want to show you spraying a cabinet up. I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. It'll be a nice wet coat going on. If you do see any runs coming because you've got too much build-up of paint, just dial it in a bit so you don't put so much paint on. And then if you need to adjust for your second coat, you can always add a little bit more thick, neat paint out of the tin just to thicken it up. But what you don't want to be doing is putting a thicker coat on through the HVLP and it splatters and it goes a little bit too textured. I don't want that. I've had that previously with stuff when I've got my mix wrong and you have to adjust it on your final coats. But all being well, this is a wet coat, i.e. very thin, and it's going to go on a treat. Now, you probably notice bottom of there, I peeled the carpet back because that's a new MDF unit and the carpet was been trimmed and cut up to it. I've gone around with some neat paint and I've actually painted that bottom stretch there, peeling the carpet back just so I can get below that carpet level. Now, it is taped all the way around, but I still say that you're going to get a little bit of a line where the tape's been and the paint goes against it. So what I didn't want to be seeing is a bit of MDF, or because I peeled it back before for priming, I didn't want to see any white coming through. So that bottom edge there has had a full coat, i.e. not thinned paint, with a brush full using my Monarch 1.5 inch slash cut. Give shout out to Monarch because they're really nice brushes. And I've actually painted across there. I will be wafting it in with the sprayer as well to get the build-up of paint, but I won't need to peel that carpet back again. Another thing you probably see that I've done first thing this morning when I got up, where I've got the crack around the opening of the fireplace, I have gone with some of the Prestonet multi-fill. I've put some of that on because it was all where I raked out. I'd actually used some peel stop just to stop the peeling edges. I've got certain areas that have peeled back. Now, I cannot hand on heart say it can't be my doing because I actually miscoated this room 17, 18 years ago with Eclipse and it was well thin. It was sprayed through my 395 Graco sprayer that I had back then, well, over 25 years, well, 25 years we had that and we've moved on from that. But I was all wash coated here with a really thin coat and it was Eclipse that I wash coated with. Now there's certain areas around there that have peeled away quite easily. Now I know it's not because I didn't do a wash coat. It's more of a case because this house dates 1911. There'll be a historic moisture in the brickwork around that chimney that at low level you can see it's not more than a metre up. It's probably just a little bit cold and a bit of damp and it's made it come off a little bit easy. So I've scraped back to a tight edge, put some peel stop on yesterday and the day before, and where the crack was where that new fireplace went in and they did some plastering up, I've just gone with some of the Prestonet multi-fill and skimmed it out, put some tape over it, which is just your mesh tape, and I've put a filler coat over that with the multi-fill. That will dry off and over the next subsequent days I will float that out with a bit more filler and build it up and lose it. Hopefully that'll hold off those cracks. So let me put my mic down. I'm going to start spraying over there. Got my mask ready and let's keep this under 25 minutes for showing you how to do one of these.
It's a 16 buff in the dark. It's a 16 buff in the dark. It's a 16.
Right, you saw me do that. Now, I turned the volume off on that because you've got the max vac running behind me and you've got the HVLP spraying. Now, you saw I started at the bottom and worked my way up. Do you know what? That feels so heavy. I had to swap around with my spray technique, but I started at the bottom, went up the sides and across the top that way, and then just brought it all in. Now, don't worry about your technique on your first coat because you just got to get it. You're just going to get it on. When you come to your second, work more in a regimented fashion that you know where you are, so you don't miss anything. And also, I'm going to say to you, you probably still will just denib between coats because that's what I'm going to do. But all in all, that's a nice wet coat on. I've not got any runs. You probably saw me just tweaking the air pressure because when I was practicing over on there, I was at full throttle because I'd obviously just flushed the paint through, and once I knew that the paint was coming through, I could just turn down so I'd not got too much pressure coming through the actual spray gun, because the more air coming through it, you're going to get a lot of bounce back in these. And to be fair, there's not a lot of overspray in here. There is a bit of dust in the air because stuff's circulating around with the QT5, which has got, it's like a big hairdryer, it's blowing all the time. But all in all, that's not too bad. The edges, which were shellac, blockaded, did sand down nice. They're just soaking in slightly. I will monitor that. If I need to put a brush full of paint on just to get an extra build up, I will do, but I will see how they go. Probably another coat might be a lot better. While I'm talking about brushfuls of paint, on the door edges, which are just there, the bits that I won't be spraying because I'll be taping round, I have gone round with a brush full just to make it a lot easier for spraying the faces. Face the door. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me. Watch the videos at the end. I'm going to get carried on with all this lot. I'll get a second coat on later today. Drying time probably 2 to 4 hours, but with spray it does seem to dry a lot quicker, and I'll get some airflow through here. So all in all, that's how you spray these. A second coat will be job's good, Bob's your uncle, fanny's your aunt. And I'm happy with that. The next video you'll see me on, I will discuss what I've done with all the doors and the woodwork, and you will see that, and we'll be cracking on with the ceiling. Straightforward one that, because it's just mushed in the ceiling with a brush and a roller, but we'll talk it through because we are using the Lick paint again. So thank you very much. Videos at the end. I'll catch you on the next instalment.